more people can do what you're doing in their fashion. Whatever their little niche is, whatever their little impact is, whatever their ability is, they can be doing that. And I think there's a lot of things that hold us back, whether it's what people have called us before. Like if someone's called us stupid, like you're not stupid. You have an ability to have a positive impact in different ways.
Welcome to the ASVAB Domination Podcast, where we help you crush the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, also known as the ASVAB, in order to achieve your dreams of serving in the United States Armed Forces. I'm your host, Mickey Gamonal, and I'm excited to share my years of experience and expertise in ASVAB preparation with you. In each episode, we'll dive deep into test material, strategies for success, and insights from military veterans and experts. Whether you're a high school student considering military service or a seasoned professional seeking to advance your career, this podcast is your ultimate guide to mastering the ASVAB and achieving your goals. Let's dominate the ASVAB together. Welcome back to the ASVAB Domination Podcast. I am Mickey Gamonal, your host. I am here today with my battle buddy from basic training, Lieutenant Spencer Ross. Lieutenant Ross branched artillery, but he joined the Army at the same time I did. However, he has a different story getting into the military than I do. He's actually prior service Navy. Spencer Ross is unique in that he joined the military right after 2002 9/11, which is pretty inspirational. And so I'm excited to talk to him about his ASVAB story and joining the military, and even more so excited to talk about his new organization, One Step Forward, which is all about leadership and stepping into leadership roles. So, Lieutenant Ross, thanks so much for being on.
Mickey, it's great to be on. I really appreciate it. I've listened to your channel. It's really good. Thank you for doing the service to our brothers and sisters.
Hey, likewise, man. Right back at you. And I think you're making a big difference with the message that you put out there. So I think it's great. To get started, I do want to ask you about your ASVAB story. So as I kind of said in the beginning, you joined the Navy right around 2002. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I graduated high school in 2002. And my parents wanted me to get a college education because that's how you become successful, right? That's what we're taught. And I always wanted to join the military. And I watched the Twin Towers. I was the 9/11 generation. And I graduated in 2002, went to college like my parents wanted me to, and I felt something was missing. So I started to go through the process of joining the military and settled on the Navy. Went through some roadblocks along the way, but it happens. And I went to take the ASVAB. It's a test like any other test. You need to be ready for it, rested for it, have a good breakfast if that's your thing, study for it. And I got a 92 on it.
Nice. 92 is a solid score.
Thank you. Very excited about that. And the higher score you get, just like you're putting out on your course, the better your opportunities to get any job that you want in the military. And there are people talk about it in different ways, but that test is very important. It does get you into the gate to the party, so you can start picking a skill that you can learn or a way to give back to our nation.
Nice. So what did you end up choosing? You got a 92. People love that, right? I had a podcast with another tutor who got a 97, and she decided not to join. And she's like, "Oh, my recruiters were begging me," right? Because you score that well, and they're pretty excited, and they give you a lot of opportunity. So what did you end up picking with the Navy?
So I was doing maintenance out on the civilian side already. So they suggested I go in construction. So Navy construction CBs, just a play on the words like the letter C and the B. So CBs. And then I did builder. So that's concrete, asphalt, wood, drywall, and painting.
Nice.
So pretty broad area of the construction world. There's a bunch of different other types. There's plumbing, electrical, different things. But yeah, I did basic construction. And it was
Nice.
good.
It's very highly practical, I think. It's something that's missing in a lot of my education. I never learned how to do a lot of that stuff. And you kind of got to learn on the fly. So getting an actual instruction on that, I'm sure it's helped you in many ways since you actually learned those skills.
Absolutely. And it's always someone who's needed. So if they need somebody, one, they've got me, because sometimes you just need people, right? Hey, we just need a body. But how about a trained person who can actually go do some other stuff than just fill sandbags? Yeah, I know how to do that. I also know how to fix a wall, dig a ditch, and put the pipe in, stuff like that.
Nice. Nice. And was your bachelor's maintenance related or engineering or something of that
Nope.
sort?
My bachelor's is in fire administration. It's working on trying to become a firefighter. Didn't make it, and that's okay. You know, sometimes we go for things and we don't make it, and we've got to adapt, we've got to overcome. And sometimes that sounds cliche, but many people in the world have a degree that they're not using specifically for the job they're in. There are lots of aspects of the degree that I have that I use in different things, but I'm not a firefighter, and that's okay. That degree, I learned a lot in about different things in management, and in the National Guard that I'm now in, the degree completely applies for all the fires or emergency stuff that I will be going to in the future.
Nice. I love that. I love that mentality. I get so many students who come through and say, "Oh, what happens if I have to do this in the army? Or what happens if, I have to do a tourniquet on somebody who blew up or something, and they're so far away from that reality and they're just looking way down the line. And so there's a missing piece oftentimes when things don't work out the way you planned them to. You can
So,
get really hung up on that. And I think like I had a student who went and got his CDL after we did ASVAB preparation for a few months. And he was stoked, right? Because that process of elimination, the testing process, all of that stuff ended up helping him to get what he was looking for. And so, same for me. I have a bachelor's degree in secondary ed math, which I use to an extent, but it's not my day to day. It's definitely not my full-time job, and it's not, typical. So I think it's great that you pivot and you see the value. Like a lot of people will pivot because you don't really have a choice, right? You either don't do what you were planning to do or you don't do what you were planning to do. So you have to make a choice either way. But some people decide that all of that was a waste of time. And I think you've come away with the right mentality of no, that time wasn't wasted. It kind of grew those skills. Is that accurate?
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And there's opportunities now for master's degrees paid for by the military. And I can't have a master's degree without a bachelor's degree. So am I exactly doing the job that I set out to do, the career that I set out to do? No, but I learned a lot. I saw a lot. I got to meet a lot of really cool people, got to have a lot of very good education. And you know what? That's okay. I took my shot. I learned from it. I'm doing okay. I'm going to be positive about it. You know, we make choices in life. We can be negative or positive, whether something goes right or something goes wrong. And I'm going to choose to be positive about
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Outstanding. Cool. Well, I like that. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the National Guard? What I know you're with artillery, but what's kind of your title and what does your unit do?
it. So I am in artillery. And the reason why I chose artillery is because they needed artillery officers. So it was my second pick, and
Okay.
I am really glad that I got it. Infantry was my first pick, and I am glad I'm in artillery. So to back up just a little bit, I went into the National Guard because I'd been in the Navy for 14 years. That entire time as a reservist, working a full-time job, you know, living the civilian life, but I wanted to keep serving. Yes, I wanted a pension, but I wanted to keep serving. That it's an amazing way to serve our nation. And so I've been to Iraq in 2009. I did construction all over the place because, like I said, you know, you need a body sometimes, but sometimes you need a trained body. who can do a job and be independent. And then I went to Kuwait in 15 and 16. And then when I got back from Kuwait, it took me 3 years to get in the Army National Guard. So if I thought my degree was a waste of time of 4 years, I tried to get in the National Guard when I was already in the military for 3 years, and I didn't give up. And it was hard and it was grueling, and I had to keep going through the process and keep doing paperwork, but it was absolutely worth it. And then we went to basic training together, and that was miserable. It's good to look back on, and there's some fun parts of that, but man, that was hard. I am 40 years old now. I don't remember how old I was back then, 4 years ago. So I was 36.
Mhm.
It was hard. It was hard. I worked out before I went, and it was difficult. So after basic training, where we met, and I was in 3rd platoon,
Yep.
and the way they do it, they just, you can only have so many people managed by a drill sergeant. So you break them up into different platoons. We had young ladies or females in our platoon, and it was a growing experience. Even though I'd been through basic training, I've been through 2 deployments, I still grew from being at basic training in the Army. Came back, went in the through OCS. That was very, very difficult.
Fort Benning,
Because
of course.
they don't want just someone out there leading soldiers in whatever, and they're not competent, or they're not cool and collected, or they're not physically fit. So that was a very, very difficult course. And at the end of it, they were picking branches and artillery. There were 2 branches left. And I said, well, I'm going to do one of the things I wanted to do. I don't remember what the other one was. And so I picked artillery, and I went to Fort Sill in Oklahoma. So that's southwest Oklahoma, a little bit north of Texas. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I thought OCS was hard, and OCS was physically hard and mentally tough, but it prepared me for Bullock Basic Officer Leadership course at Fort Sill. And there's 2 sides to artillery. There's the mass side, and there is the observation side. So the mass side's no joke. So if you're thinking about joining the military, there's lots of different things to do, right? Mickey has a great course that he's talked about. He's put on a great channel. And if you're going to do artillery, you can do it. I failed the first time I went through it. I failed the hardest math test I've ever done. And people were encouraging, people in my class are like, Ross, realistically, when's the last time you took a math test? And I was thinking about it. That was a really long time ago. It's a good question, but you need to be an adult. One of the things the military is going to teach you is definitely how to be an adult. You're going to make adult choices. If you want to drink all night before the test and then bomb the test, there's going to be consequences. If you want to say something dumb, there's going to be consequences. So if you want to study for a test and pass it and have be in one of the greatest clubs in the world, be in the United States military, then yes. So I failed the class. I had to go talk to the commander, and he looked at me in the eye and he said, if we give you another chance, do you think you could pass this course? Man, what a question. Absolutely. What a question. Like this is what I'm trying to do. There's no going back to the Navy. I'm not going to be enlisted in the Army. Can I pass this course? Yes, sir. And I had to give reasons why I was going to pass the course. And I studied hard. I studied very, very hard. And at the end, he was like, there's no partying, there's no drinking, there's no staying up late. Like, I didn't do any of that in the first place. It was really hard, but it was good. It has helped mature me. Like being on my first deployment, that helped mature me. Going through basic training, that helped mature me. Going through all those personal interactions with members of the military, foreign governments, foreign nationals, you're going to grow if you choose to. You could be a bum, you could be immature and stay that way and say the wrong things and do the wrong things. And people make mistakes. but I chose to grow. I chose to retake the course right then and there. So I got switched back into another class a week later. I took it, I passed it in the study session when other people were looking at failure in the face. I went and studied with them so that they could pass. Out of the 6 people I helped study with, 4 of them passed the class, 2 had to retake it, and then they nailed it the second time. So please don't be discouraged. You've got a great opportunity with Mickey and his course to pass the class. I didn't have someone I could call on. It was just students helping students. So you've got a mentor in Mickey, so please use that. But why I chose artillery, it sounded fun, and it is. And in a couple months, we're going to go shoot at Camp Pendleton, which is a Marine base. And yeah, I'm National Guard, but we work together. There's that fun rivalry. But, I'm a first lieutenant and I'm having fun, and it's difficult, and I'm managing soldiers and all the conflicts and all the maintenance issues. But man, what a great ride it's been. 19
Nice.
years, still loving it.
Wow, 19 years. So gosh, there's just so much to ask about 19 years, so many deployments, so much accomplishment. What would you say is the biggest difference between Army and Navy, in your opinion? Like, what do you think is the biggest shift?
It's a In the Navy, you're more confined. You've got fewer people on the ship, so you have to do more with less. In the Army, you can just put another 10 out on the ground, and you've got another person there to do the job. So in the Navy, it's a little bit more bare bones, which is good. It stretches you a little bit. In the Army, you do have to work together a little bit more because there are more people to say no. Hey, I don't want to do that. Like in the Navy, it might just be you and one other dude working on a project. In the Army, well, it might be you and one other dude, but 10 other people are going to come over and be like, hey, Sergeant told me to come over here and help you. What do you want us to do? And you gotta learn how to manage that. So I'm not saying one's better or one's worse, but in the Navy, it's a little bit more independent than the Army. But either way, you're still going to be in a group. You're still going to be in a good club. Still going to be with a great team. So definitely encourage you, even in the Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, Space Force now,
Mhm.
you're still going to be in a great group. Other people talk about other differences. There's some wording that's different, but for the most part, we're pretty much all the same.
Nice. Cool. And so you're at 19 years now. You're going to be at 20 in a second. Are you going to jump out at 20 years? I feel like, so for me, right, when I was going through my bullock in Fort Lee, a lot of those folks are government contractors that are teaching. And those government contractors all did their 20 years and then they retired, majority of them. Some of them retired with disability, some of them retired with honors, whatever. But they started collecting those retirement checks, and now they're doing basically the same job and getting twice the money is kind of what their rationale was. And they were very happy to share this experience with us because to them it was the right move. I mean, I think any of us, if we could take 150% pay raise, or something like that, we would jump on that immediately. So I can see why
Absolutely.
you'd be eager to share that. So yeah, my question for you, are you planning on retiring right at that 20, or are you gonna continue on for a while?
So great question. When I was going through OCS, there was a guy, he was an E8, and he mentioned that you have to be in the military as an officer 10 years to start collecting officer retirement pay. And most people don't know that. And
Mhm.
I didn't know that. And I was like, wait, what? What? I have to do this for another 10 years? And he was like, yeah, you didn't know that? I was like, no, very few people know that. I'm still educating people, and they're first lieutenants. And they're like, what do you mean? What? What do you mean I have to do this for 10 years? Like, yeah, you have to do this for 10 years in your 20s. So if you're prior service, you've got to do another 10 as officer.
Mm.
So I'm still healthy. I'm still excited about it. I still, I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. I love what I do. I love the soldiers. They're an amazing group of men and women, and it's an amazing way to serve the nation. Yes, I do have 8 years I think left to get officer retirement, and that's a long time, but I think it's worth it. I'm excited for what the next 8 years are, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the opportunities and the difficulties that are going to help me grow and make me question some things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 8 years.
Nice. Very cool. So drill is a different beast entirely, in my opinion, right? Going to drill, you see it on your calendar, and you can have like dread, like, oh crap, here this weekend comes, right? And then you can have excitement, like, yes, we're like, you mentioned going to Camp Pendleton to go shoot guns, which is awesome, right? Like I tell my civilian friends that we got to burn extra ammo while we're at the range, and they're like, holy cow, you got it made. Like they just can't believe how blessed I am to get to fire rounds for free. So how do you balance that? Because you seem like you're a pretty positive guy. So I would imagine when you see drill on the calendar, you're excited to go. How do you maintain that kind of energy?
Great question. So I'm nervous and positively excited as well. When I was going through OCS, everybody was nervous. They were talking about every weekend. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Our instructors were amazing. It is no joke, difficult. But yeah, I was nervous. I wanted to excel. I wanted to be in the top. And, there's some people who are more physically fit than me. There's some people who are smarter than me. There's some people with more knowledge than me. You know what? All right. And we all have to work together. And if we don't, we're going to get yelled at, or
Yeah.
we're going to get yelled at regardless, right? You went through OCS.
Of course, yeah. You could do
Um,
everything 100% right, and that's their opportunity to really yell at you.
yeah, yeah. So I went through phase one in Alabama, then I came home for phase two, and it's getting in the weeds for what those are, but it's just different sections. And then I did phase three in Washington. And I was nervous. I was nervous. So even drill today, I'm a little less nervous because I know what's coming. I'm helping doing the planning and stuff, and we're pushing that out to the soldiers so that they know as soon as possible what's going on. So it reduces that anxiety of not knowing. But I am still nervous. I am excited after I get there and start going. Like, all right, yeah, we've got this. Everything's going right. We had a soldier missing for a little bit, and that was nerve wracking. And we got him back, and he was okay. Sometimes family stuff happens, and it delays a soldier showing up. But as an officer, I'm responsible for that soldier. And somebody was asking where a soldier was, and like, oh, you're right. So, there's things that come up and make you nervous. And how do you look at it? Are you going to yell at your soldiers because something's not going right, or are you building up the team? And my leadership is phenomenal. They're building up the team, and they're encouraging me to do the right thing. Not necessarily like, hey, write the report on time, but they're, hey, go do what you need to do, Ross. We'll back you up, and if you need help, we're here for you.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, I think leadership really dictates it. I think a lot of people, the old saying is people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. And I think that translates really well into military toxic, like if there's toxic leadership. But I've been really lucky myself as well. I think National Guard kind of cultivates that. Everybody who I've interviewed who's been National Guard, majority of the time they're pretty happy with their leadership. So I think that's something that comes from the top. So that's great. Okay, cool. So I do want to get into the one step forward. So Spencer, can you tell us a little bit about one step forward? What is the mission and what are you up to with that?
One step forward is something I wanted to do just to encourage people to lead. So, like, you're doing an amazing thing. You're helping young men and young women get through that gate of that test and into the military. And it seems so simple, but it's actually a big impact on a lot of people. And more people can do what you're doing in their fashion. Whatever their little niche is, whatever their little impact is, whatever their ability is, they can be doing that. And I think there's a lot of things that hold us back, whether it's what people have called us before. Like if someone's called us stupid, like you're not stupid. You have ability to have a positive impact in different ways. If you're not good on math, that's okay. I'm not good at math either, and I passed the hardest. It's actually the second hardest officer course in the military besides helicopter school. So, and it's just half of it's a math test. So you can do it. It was just a program to help people be encouraged to lead.
Nice. Awesome. I think it's great. I think it's great. And I think encouraging leadership is something that's so, I think I told you, it's comprehensive, right? Like it covers life, right? It's completely different than just do really well on this test. It's something that bleeds into your life from the outside rather from like a narrow inside of focus. So I think that's great. And so where can people find out more about this?
So I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. One Step Forward is what the channel's called. And there's a lot of great things out there. So, I mean, if you don't like my channel, that's okay. There's other great channels out there. I wrote a book. It's called I Can Lead. So it's I Can Lead with a question mark at the end of it. It's on Amazon. And like you were talking about, it is comprehensive because leadership is so much more than just being at the front of a room giving a speech. Sometimes it's your kid's little league game. Sometimes it's talking to your neighbor. Who knows? But One Step Forward on YouTube, and love to have you guys come check it out.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, everybody go check them out. One Step Forward on YouTube and Instagram, and then check out the book, I Can Lead with a question mark. That's great. Are there any last thoughts, any final words before we close up today?
I really appreciate you having me on. This is a great opportunity for people to hear two individuals talking about their experiences. And as much as the military might sound scary, it's not. I enjoy it. Been in there for 19 years, been on 2 deployments. I just had some brothers and sisters come back from a deployment. You know, there's things in life we don't like, and they help us grow, or we can not grow from them. We make choices every day. I'd encourage you to really consider the military. And if you're thinking about, you know, it's a hard test, you know, it is. That's why we study for it. And that's why we have good programs to do it. Mickey puts on a good one. We met in basic training, and we're here, 4 years later, catching up and supporting each other. So if you want to join one of the best clubs in the world that's been around for over 200 years, really think about joining the United States military.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much, Lieutenant Ross. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Remember to be kind to yourself and treat yourself as a learner. Are you considering a career in the military but feeling overwhelmed by the ASVAB exam? Look no further than GamonalTutors.com for the best ASVAB prep courses. Our courses are designed by experienced instructors to help you master the best sections of the ASVAB exam, including mathematics, English, and general science. We use proven teaching methods and provide extensive practice materials to ensure that you are fully prepared on test day. With GamonalTutors.com, you'll have access to comprehensive study guides, personalized tutoring sessions, and online practice exams. Our courses are available on demand, so you can learn at your own pace and on your own schedule. Don't let the ASVAB exam hold you back from achieving your career goals. Sign up for GamonalTutors.com ASVAB prep courses today and take the first step towards a successful military career.